We are our own worst enemy. We are the ones that keep us from being our best. Recently heard a story about an older gentleman. He was in a post office. He was in line to get stamps. You could tell he was struggling there in that line. And there was a lady that noticed. So she walked up to me and she said, "You know what? There's these amazing little machines right over there. You can get your stamps there. That way you don't have to wait in this line." And the old man looked at her and said, "You know, I'm really grateful. I appreciate it. But I'd rather wait in the line." Now, she couldn't figure this out. It didn't make any sense to her. She could tell that he was struggling. So she persisted. "Come on, come to the machine. I'll show you how to do it. It's easy. It's a piece of cake." And finally, the old man looked at her in the eye and said, "You know, the machine won't ask me about my arthritis." And he stayed in the line. Now, how does that make sense to anyone in this room? Well, that's just it. It doesn't make sense. It's emotional. It's not logical. It is about the experience that you create for your customer over and over and over again. That's what it's all about. Your customer experience needs an overhaul. It needs it right now. So how do you do that? Well, your people need people skills. How do we do that? We teach them. We teach them to create wow experiences. What is a wow experience? It's when a customer realizes that you went above and beyond for them. That's a wow experience. How do we do that? Well, we teach them to be grateful. They have a role. They have a responsibility. They need to be able to do it better than we can do it. They become indispensable to you. They become indispensable to their team. You've got to give first. You've got to give first. You've got to train your CSRs to give first. You've got to train your technicians to give first. You've got to train your comfort advisors to give first, to create value. And when they do, they're going to create a wow experience. And that's how you build long-term relationships. You give first. When people don't do their job, and we wonder why, it could be that they don't care. We need to teach them to care. We need to remind them who the boss is. It's them. They're calling. They're calling. So how do we teach them to care? Well, we got to teach them to listen. Customer gets on the phone, "Hey, I've got this mother-in-law living with us. She's been with us for the last 3 years. Can you imagine telling a complete stranger you got a mother-in-law living with you? How about I've got a son who's 4 months old and I can't go without AC? They share these things with us. I just had a hip replacement. I just had an aneurysm. They share it all. Why do they share that with complete strangers?" That's their pain, yes, from an emotional standpoint. And they want you to care. But in order to care, you have to listen. And you've got to teach them how to listen. They've got to be present. They've got to be in the moment. Lastly, we need to teach our team to embrace optimism. Absolutely, there are things we cannot control. We cannot control the elements. We cannot control other people. But we can control ourselves. These things are common knowledge. You get it. You get it. But it's not common practice. The way we make it common practice is by practicing over and over and over again. You are the enemy. You are the one that keeps you from being great. You are the one that keeps you from growing. got to fix that. What is great about life is that as long as we're not dead, we can get up. We can get up. We can dust ourselves off, and we can try again and again and again until we succeed, until we win. So when I say you're the enemy, you are. But you're also the hero. You're the hero of this story. And if the hero can step up, if the hero can get off the ground, dust themselves off as many times as they have to, again and again and again, until they do what they're supposed to do what they were meant to do, and that is to create, that is to build, because it's not about the money, it's about people. And when you serve people, when you take care of people, when you create that experience over and over and over again, guess what? You win. And money's just a byproduct. Make it so. You be the hero. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of This Call May Be Recorded. Big shout out to Brigham Dickinson, founder of Power Selling Pros, for that inspiring video to kick us off. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the show for contracting businesses where we listen to 3 phone calls that we heard this week at Power Selling Pros and coach them up. I'm Zach Garside. I'll be your host today. I want to let you know, where do we get these phone calls? Well, we are a CSR training company. We coach 950 plus CSRs in the industry, and we listen to their calls every single week. So we've got a library of literally thousands of calls to pull from. And today you're going to see me coach up some CSRs live. They're not going to be with us, but I'm going to be giving feedback on these phone calls for you. Before we get started though, really quickly, you'll see this bar across the bottom of the screen right here. Go to powersellingpros.com, get a free training sample if you have never done that before. And if you have a feeling, hey, my team could use some coaching, we could book more calls, we could wow more customers, we could get more aligned so that the customer experience is consistent no matter who picks up that phone. Head over to powersellingpros.com, schedule a call with our team. We'd love to give you a custom coaching plan. Now, without further ado, I've got 3 phone calls to play with you. Make sure you take advantage of the comment section wherever you're watching this, whether YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. Let me know your thoughts and how you coach these calls up as we're going along. In fact, why don't you hit the comment section right now so I can know you're with me? I know we got a bunch of people on today and I want to get some engagement rolling here. So make sure you take advantage of that comment section, chime in as we listen to these calls. And you guys ready for our first phone calls? Can I get some yeses in the comments? Tough crowd today. Let's go ahead with some calls. Here we go. Call number 1.
It's a wonderful day. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? What can I help you with?
I wanted to see if I could schedule, my drain's starting to clog up again. I live in an old farmhouse and I periodically have to have it snaked, and I think I should do that before Thanksgiving.
Okay, yeah, definitely. That doesn't sound good. We definitely want to get that taken care of for you before Thanksgiving. Now, is it just like you having slow drains or?
It's just slow.
Okay. And then what is your address?
All right. First things first, before we go any further, this is a positive environment. We're getting better here today. We are working on providing a better experience to our customers on the phone, because here's the thing. When you pick up the phone, that customer has to hear in your tone of voice instantly that they've called the right place. What most of us don't recognize is that when a customer calls, they decide just based on how you sound when you answer that call if I'm going to look for a reason not to book with this company. So the feedback I would give to this CSR is a little more energy. I'm not asking you to be a cheerleader and throw your pom-poms up in the air, but I'm looking for a little more energy, a little more of I am here to help and I want to serve you. We don't want the customer to get the impression from our energy and tone of voice that we'd rather be doing literally anything else than talking to customers on the phone. In addition, let me play this back for you just a couple of seconds.
Okay, yeah, definitely. That doesn't sound good. We definitely want to get that taken care of for you.
I love that right there. We definitely want to get that taken care of for you. That doesn't sound good. That's what we call empathizing and reassuring the customer we can definitely help. Now, right here, let's see what happens next.
Before Thanksgiving. Now, is it just are you having flow drains or?
We're asking
Just
for
flow.
details.
Okay. And then what is your address?
Right there. What is your address? One of the things that we want to do before we ask for the customer's logistical information, what's your address, what's your phone number, what's your email, is we want to ask them, Mr. Jones, we can definitely help you out that. When were you hoping to get somebody out there? Now, in the comments, what is a customer likely going to say if you ask them, when were you hoping to get somebody out there? As soon as possible. Get somebody out here right now. Yesterday, please. ASAP. I need service right now. This is an emergency, which is completely understandable. But when I ask, when were you hoping to get somebody out there? That doesn't mean I'm going to commit to that time. I'm not making any promises. I'm merely trying to involve the customer in the process of setting up their appointment. Because if the customer feels like they are at your will, then again, they're going to look for reasons to call you back or to not book with you. So I always want to ask the customer, we can definitely help you out that, Mr. Jones. When were you hoping to get somebody out there? Well, I'd like somebody to come out today, as soon as possible. All right, well, let's get some information and let's take a look at the schedule together. One of the other things you'll notice is when we ask questions, tell me more about your situation. What's going on? How long has it been doing that? When were you hoping to get somebody out there? We want to end our questions with a downward inflection in the voice. Downward inflections in the voice. When were you hoping to have someone out there? Tell me more. How can I make you smile today? Downward inflections in the voice give the impression that you're more confident. It makes you more confident, quite frankly. So there's a couple of little pieces of advice on that phone call so far, but let's keep listening. Let's see where this conversation with this customer goes, shall we?
All right, and will this be the best contact number for you, the one that you're calling from?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And the technician will also send a notification when they're on their way, so you'll get a picture of the technician. We'll also
Okay, I don't want them now. I don't want them till Saturday.
Okay. And he'll also be able to send updates, estimates, invoices, and receipts to an email. Do you have an email for that?
Yes.
All right. And did you have a certain day and time in mind you were looking to schedule an appointment for?
Right there. Did you notice what she just did there? The customer just said a second ago, I don't want something till Saturday. And a couple seconds later, we're asking, oh, so do you have a preferred day and time? This is why we ask for what their expectation is in the beginning. This is why we ask them, when were you hoping to get somebody out there? So that we can customize the rest of the interaction and know that information when we're looking at the schedule. Brigham himself is chiming in right here in the comments. Customers have an expectation of when they'd like for you to come out. You might as well ask to find out what that is. Beautifully said. Couldn't have said it better myself. So you got to ask, when would you like us to come out? And when the customer tells you, I don't want anybody out here till Saturday, take note of that. Pay attention. Don't ask again. So when would you like somebody to come out? Do you have a preferred day and time? Ask one time. And then the rest of the call is just getting it on the schedule, right? It looks like I have an available appointment today. Can I go ahead and book that appointment for you, Mr. Jones? Or if you notice that they want something today, but your schedule is booked till, let's say, Friday, then you offer to put them on the urgency list. The urgency list, Mr. Jones, what I'd like to do is put you on the urgency list. This gives you faster service. In the event that a technician finishes early in your area, which happens all the time, or another customer reschedules, we're going to get the next available person out to your home. Now, in order to get you on the urgency list, I do need to put you on the schedule, and I have an available appointment tomorrow at noon. May I book that appointment in order to get you on today's urgency list? Pause and wait for the response. The way you approach the time frame and the scheduling is key to the customer experience. If the customer feels like you don't care what their expectation is, if the customer feels like you're not going to accommodate them, if they don't feel like it's urgent to you, then they're going to go somewhere else. Now, let's go to call number 2. Hit the comments. Let me know if you're ready to listen to call number 2 while I pull this up. Here we go.
Good morning. I need to see if I can talk to somebody about some plumbing work I need to have done at the house.
Okay, what is it that you're needing done?
I've got several little jobs I need to do. Some replacing faucets, changing checking drain on the bathtub, just several small jobs.
Okay, so it's just like different things.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said replace faucet, check.
All right. Before I give my feedback, tell me in the comments, what are you seeing from this CSR? What are you hearing so far that you would coach the CSR up on? While you're typing that in, I'll say one thing. We need energy. We need to let that customer know that this is the most important moment right now. This is the most important thing for me going on in the world. I've got payroll I could be doing. I've got invoices I could be taking care of, paperwork, permits I could be filling out. But this is where my attention and my priority is right now. We've got to have that energy when we serve that customer. Lack of concern. That's a great way to put it, Melissa. Love that. So we got to have energy. In addition, let me play back something here for you that customers pay a lot of attention to when they talk to you. Let me go back about 10 seconds.
Faucets, checking drain on the bathtub, just several small jobs.
Okay, so it's just like different things.
Yeah.
Right there. When the CSR said it's just like different things, let's be specific. Let's repeat back to the customer exactly what they told us is going on. Specifically tell them. So you've got a backed up drain. The drain is draining slowly. The toilet's backed up. We've got water leaking out of the pipes underneath the sink. Be specific in repeating back to the customer what it is that they're telling you. That's how they know you understand them. And do you know what companies customers like to do business with the most? They don't like to do business with the cheapest, despite what they may tell you. They don't even necessarily want to do it with the fastest. They want to do business with the company that understands them the clearest. They want to do business with the company that shows, we know what's going on in your day. We know that you have soccer practice later. You've got PTA meetings to get to. You've got work that you're taking time away from to address this issue. We understand what you're experiencing and how it is affecting your schedule today. If you want extra brownie points with the customer, you want to go above and beyond where the rest of your competition is when they talk to customers, ask them, Mr. Jones, how is this leak affecting your schedule today? That little question right there will clue you in on the inconvenience, on the impact that this problem is having on their life. Because ultimately, that's what they care about. They care about how this is affecting their life. It's not just enough to understand the problem. You got to understand the implications of the problem as well. Make sure that customer knows you understand them. Be specific and repeat back to them everything they've told you so far. Let's keep listening to this call.
And you said replace faucet, check drains. Are they like backing up or?
So now we're starting to do that. Like that.
It drains really slow on the bathtub, so I want to see if there's something going on there.
Okay. And was there anything else?
Replacing outside faucet. Like I said, about two or three things I need to get done.
Okay. And do you have an account with us?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Okay, what is the address?
So this is what we noticed on the last call as well. Where the CSR is saying, do you have an account with us? What's your address? They're getting right into the logistics of the call. Tell me where you're located. What's your address? Can I serve you? Basically, is it possible for me to get out there? What the customer wants to hear before you start asking for logistics, like the name and address and phone number, or not the name, you should get the name early, but the address, phone number, and email. What they want to know first is, can you help me? Do you understand what I'm going through? Do you care? And can you help me? And to address all three of those concerns, I repeat back to the customer what they've told me. Hey, Mr. Jones, so you've got a leaking faucet in your master bathroom. There's water dripping out of the pipes underneath. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Oh, I hate to hear that. That's got to be super frustrating, but I'll tell you what, Mr. Jones, you have called the right place. We can definitely help you out. I'm glad you gave us a call. When were you hoping to get somebody out there? Restate the problem, empathize, reassure them we can definitely help. You've called the right place. When would you like us to come out? And then once you've got all that, once the customer knows you understand them and you know what their expectation is and they feel like you care, now you have permission to ask for their personal information, like where they live and what their email and address or their email and phone number is. If you don't do those things first, though, then you're no different than a robot, essentially. I could just send the customer to your website and they'd get the same experience, just booking automatically. If they're going to call us, if they're going to give us the chance to have a conversation with them, we should make it worth their while. If I want you to walk away from this call with any mental shift, I want it to be the shift that customer conversations, how you speak to them on the phone, is now officially part of your value proposition. It's a part of the customer experience. When they pay that invoice, when they pay for the service that you've offered, you should consider the quality of conversation as part of the service. Because again, they didn't have to call you. They could have called anyone else. They probably could have found a company that would allow them to book online, but they gave you an opportunity to talk to them, to make a connection and have a conversation, not something we should take lightly. Make sure that you give them your attention, that you show them you understand, you reassure them we can definitely help. Mr. Jones, when were you hoping to get somebody out there? Create an amazing experience. I love the comment from Clay where he says, add empathy to your calls. Empathy is the superpower. Let's listen to one more call, shall we? I know we're not going all the way through these phone calls. If we did, we'd be here forever. I mean, we do this stuff for hours and hours and hours every day. But you can probably see in these calls we're listening to today, the theme is, how do we start it? How do we show the customer we understand them, that we care, that we reassure them we can definitely help? And then ask, when were you hoping to get somebody out there? That's how every call should start. I don't care if they're calling and the first thing out of their mouth is, hey, can you give me a quote? I'm going to approach it the exact same way as all my other calls. Well, tell me more about that. What's going on? So you're saying your air conditioner's blowing warm air. Every time you set the thermostat to 69 degrees, it doesn't do anything you want it to. It's just blowing warm air. Well, that's super frustrating, but I can definitely help you out. You've called the right place. When were you hoping to get somebody out there? That flow that you hear there, where I listen to the issue, care, reassure, ask for their business, when would you like us to come out? I'm going to follow that same exact flow on every single phone call. Doesn't matter if they're asking for a price, if they call and say, hey, what's your soonest available appointment? Doesn't matter if they're upset, angry, have no energy. Every call should flow that way in the beginning. So let's take a look at one more phone call.
How may I help you?
Hello, is this,
It is.
okay, take care of that, or,
Absolutely. What do you have going on?
well, we have a floor drain in the basement that
Okay.
backs up whenever we use anything in the house, except for we have a shower in the basement that connects to the drain right where it goes out the wall. And that works fine. It's just everything else is backing up. So it's something.
So we can absolutely help you with. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Right.
Awesome.
I left a message. I called and left a message at on this online that same thing as you guys, or?
No, that's somebody different. But actually, I'm going to be the one taking care of you today. And we definitely can help with floor drains. How long has that been going on?
Okay, what I like here in this call is how she is asking questions. She's asking him, what's going on? You know, tell me a little bit more about the drains. She's reassuring him. I think she said 3 times at this point, we can definitely help. We can definitely help. We can definitely help. Let's keep listening.
Just started like today.
Today.
But,
Has that ever happened in the past?
Maybe about 15, 20 years ago, we ran a snake through it, and it didn't work fine.
That's been a long time. Oh, so you definitely
Yeah.
lucky with that. Okay, and you own the home, right? Okay. When are you looking to get somebody there?
All right, so that's all right. That's pretty good. When were you looking to get somebody there? I think what I'm looking for here is a little more, let's be the customer's guide. We're technically saying the right things in this call, repeating the problem back, saying we can definitely help. When were you looking to get someone out there? But what I want to hear in the tone of voice is, hey, I'm going to take care of you. I am going to be your guide as we solve this problem. When were you hoping to get somebody out there? When can we come out there and fix those drains for you? I want to get this taken care of for you as quickly as possible. A little more urgency, a little more ownership of the problem. I'll tell you this story actually. I was training a group of CSRs a few months back, and one of the CSRs said to me, Zach, I do all the stuff you guys teach. I follow the call flow. I use the principles in your pattern for excellence, and it doesn't work. Now, as a trainer, that's a potentially terrifying moment. As a business owner, that's a potentially terrifying moment. How is the person who's teaching my team going to respond to this? So I simply said, let's listen to your phone calls. We pulled up the CSR's calls. We listened, and sure enough, she was saying all the right things. But it was obvious from listening to the calls that she was going through the motions. That even though she was saying all the right stuff, following the so-called script, there wasn't enough passion or energy in it. There wasn't enough ownership of the customer's problem. When that customer talks to you, you may be perfectly articulate, you may have all the right things to say, but if the tone in your voice doesn't sound like you're going to own this issue and you're going to make sure that this customer gets taken care of, it's not going to get you all the way to where you want to be. And where do we want to be? We want to book the call. We want to create a wow experience, make that customer say, you're amazing. I mean, you are absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. And we want to uncover additional revenue opportunities. Offer maintenance plans. Offer to have the technician look at another service while he's out there. Build such a reputation with that customer on the phone that by the time the technician gets there, that customer's ready to say yes. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when now. If you do that, if you create that kind of experience over the phone, make no mistake, your business will make more money. You as a CSR will advance in your career. Your technicians will be more successful because of you, because of the way you treated that customer over the phone. We have heard dozens and dozens of phone calls where a customer called in, hung up, called around, looked for other companies, and then called the first company back to say, you know what? I'm going to book with you guys because you're the only company that sounded like you cared. That's what they're looking for. They tell you they're just looking for pricing. They tell you they're just looking for the lowest bid, but they're not. Don't write them off if they say that. They're looking for the most value, for the company that cares the most about taking care of them. If you can be that company, here's everyone else. Here's you. Book that call. Wow that customer. Take ownership of the problem and let that show in not only the words you use, but the tone of voice with which you use them. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what I want to drive home for you today. That is what I want you to take away from this short 30-minute episode of This Call May Be Recorded. We got a couple of comments I didn't get to address, so let me address those really quickly. First of all, we have a comment that says, would love to hear one where the customer calls in and just wants to know how much a service fee is. That is a fantastic request. Tell you what, next month, I'll make sure we address that. This month, or not next month. What am I talking about? We're going to do this every week. In our next episode, which will be in 2 weeks, because next week's Thanksgiving, all right? In 2 weeks, when we have episode 2 of This Call May Be Recorded, we're going to play some phone calls where the customer just wants to know how much it costs. The first thing out of their mouth is, hey, how much do you charge? Hey, can you give me a quote? Hey, give me a ballpark price on what it costs to get my AC replaced or get this thing repaired. We're going to go over that. Let me know in the comments if that sounds like something you'd want to listen to. We've also got another comment here from Mr. Brigham Dickinson again. He says, what you do in the first 30 seconds of the call determines the ultimate outcome of the call. Truer words have never been spoken. Maybe we should get Brigham in on this show. And finally, lots of other comments from people saying, yes, we're ready. Let's hear the next call. So I appreciate the engagement. Appreciate the comments, everyone. This has been episode number 1 of This Call May Be Recorded, the weekly show where we play 3 phone calls that we have listened to at Power Selling Pros and we coach them up. If you've got phone calls that you want us to coach up, email them to us at certify, that's CERTIFY, at powersellingpros.com. And maybe we'll get your phone calls in here. Don't worry, we always remove all personal information. So all names, company names, and logistical info is taken out of those calls. So nobody will ever know it's you. But if you want to get coached up, email your calls to certify at powersellingpros.com. And we will see you in 2 weeks for the second episode of This Call May Be Recorded, where we break down pricing calls. We'll see you then.